So great question. And, that's a tricky one because, and of course, investors will also be thinking like, how will the customer perceive it? Right? Because they're trying to assess like what is your market potential and like what is the takeoff potential. So on the one hand, most people will like it if it's affordable and it's highly affordable, and even if your margins are thin and there's a big demand out there, you can see that it'll have legs, right? It'll have potential. So the investors are partly thinking, well, frugality is good, affordability is good because that gives you margins. And actually, if your costs are low, if the cost of actually making something is low, you don't have to pass on those savings to the customer. You can actually have higher margins if the market will bear it. So actually, I've talked like Tata Motors, right? I talked to Tata Motors about this because yes, they had the Nano, which of course we know didn't succeed, and that's actually an interesting one because it was highly affordable. It was actually a good product, but from a marketing perspective, it was a disaster because they didn't make it aspirational enough, right? They just emphasized, oh, it's the world's cheapest car. That was not a good idea. They should have made it more aspirational. But Tata's has other cars too, including high-end cars. And I said, how does Jugaad? I asked Ravikant, who was the CEO, basically, like, how do you apply frugal engineering and innovation to high-end products? He said, totally, you can do it in the supply chain because that will reduce your cost, but you can still charge a price to the customer if the customer is willing to pay for it, for the design, for the brand, for the luxury, etc. So I think investors would like it, but you have to find a way to make the affordable aspirational. To me, that's the trick. And from a marketing perspective, that's key. You've got to make the product all about how cool it is, how convenient it is, how socially desirable it is, how beautiful it is, and not how cheap it is. Of course, then people will see the price, right? And then they'll assess the value for money. So that's delicate from a marketing perspective. You've got to be quite savvy there. You can't just go with, oh, this is the cheapest thing in the world, because it'll backfire in terms of perceptions of value. So I think that's roughly how you've got to go to the investors. You've got to show them the value again. It's the value to the end customer. And the value is usually not only, it's about the benefits that people have. It's not about the cost. The cost is there as a denominator, but you don't emphasize the cost.